3, 2, 1.
Alright guys, we finally did it. In this video, I'm going to show you how I built this rocket, sent it to 1,300 feet with an onboard camera, and how I got my L1 high-powered rocketry certification with it. Don't forget to stick around to the end so that I can show you all of the amazing footage I took. To start designing the rocket, I used OpenRocket so that I could simulate what the rocket would look like. And then I took it to FreeCAD so that I could design all of the 3D parts. Then I took a piece of paper so that I could sketch out what the fins would look like. I then copied and pasted it onto the fin material and cut it out using an angle grinder. While I sand the fins, I think this is a good time to talk about what a high-powered rocketry certification is. A high-powered rocketry certification, or HPR certification, is a certification that lets you buy bigger and stronger rocket motors. There are 3 levels of high-powered rocketry certification: L1, L2, and L3. Normally, you have to be over 18 to do any of these, but they have a special program for people under 18 that allows you to take an M1 certification, which is an L1 certification, but with a different name. To get this certification, you must take a test and successfully fly a rocket with a high-powered rocket motor. Then I took all the tubes outside to paint them. I epoxied the 2 halves of the inner assembly together and glued in the inner tube. The nose cone was 2 pieces, and while I was printing it, some of the parts sagged, so I had to use a Dremel and a sanding wheel to sand it up so that then I could put the epoxy on. After the inner assembly's glue had dried, I epoxied on the fins. I then took time to sand down the entire nose cone and all of the fins. After that, I went outside to not only paint the nose cone and the inner assembly, I also painted the tube coupler, which coupled the AV bay section to the main airframe. I then went to school to work on a project, and took the AV parts with me, hence the lab coat because I was working with chemicals to make sugar motors. After that, I glued the shock cording to the inner assembly and glued it into the airframe. After that glue had dried, I taped up the fins so that I could do the epoxy fillets. While the epoxy was still green, which was about 1.5 hours into drying, I peeled off the blue tape so that I could get nice clean lines. Now you can see that I used the hot air gun on parts of the epoxy to make it dry faster. On those parts, the blue tape wouldn't come up, so I had to use a knife to cut it off. My rocket was entirely done at this point, and all I had to do was wait for the launch day. When we got to the launch site, I helped everybody set up and watched a few airplanes take off. Then it was time for my test. Since this is an M1 and not an L1 certification, I have to take a test so that they can make sure I know what I'm doing. I passed the test, and now the rocket was fully integrated. All I had to do was load it onto the pad, arm the electronics, arm the cameras, and wait for the countdown.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright guys, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. Aside from one of my fins snapping, which was fixable, my rocket performed spectacularly. And I got my L1 certification. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as comment down below so that you can tell me what you guys want to see me make next. Never forget to ignite the skies.